Eve paints.
Hey folks, welcome to another 3D printing Patreon preview. I have 160 campaigns to share with you today, as well as an additional 25 in the lightning round at the end. Quick content warning, some of these images contain pinup style models, and I've included a link in the description to a video I did discussing why that may need a content warning. Alright then, let's get started. From the Surreal Factory, check out these death flyers. Sark's Foundry has mutants this month, with a bit of scatter terrain to go with them. The Unholy Trinity has a Horned Warrior theme, with quite a few more than is pictured here. Mecha Miniatures has some Punk Orcs, a much more well-to-do fellow, and some World War II pilot heads. Pop Minis has some Ghostbusters for their first release. This is Cybermyth's first release as well. Cyberpunk minis, vehicles, bases, and a bust. Drunken Dwarf has a Greek Myths set this month. Zombie Smith has School of Pirates, Meg Officers, Walkers, and a Dropship. The Portal of Morrow has quite a few adventurers for you this month. My 3D Print Forge has a Surfing Shark, Townsfolk, and more. Renin 3D's Patreon is just launching. It looks like a bunch of spaceships. Lost World Miniatures has some Firebolgs this month. Here are some Cacodemons from Maps and Monsters. Here's a work in progress of Print, Paint, and Play's March release. Ivan has a new Dreadnought and Cruiser for the human race this month. Across the Realms' first release is The Mountain Orcs. The Throne of Tamesis is the new sculpture from Clay Demon Miniatures. Here's a couple Hellenistic heroes from Games Mythology this month. From Cert Studio, we have the Norns, the fire giant Cert, as well as a dark elf and a light elf. Don Whitaker has more prehistoric plants in the works for March. From Dork Factory, we have Shadow Space Cloud Talons. Angel of the Deep is a new sculpt from Kraken's Vault this month. Cult of Pickle has a scatter pack of desert rocks, as well as some more disturbing creations. Epic Adventure Miniatures has Inox Chain Guard, Konahi, and Aether Starslinger. Polygrim has mountain, sea, and forest-themed warriors this month. Art of Mike has female sci-fi warriors, some of them with 4 arms. Multi-part World War II Romanians this month from Red Dawn Miniatures. Celia Miniatures is doing classic monster movie chibis. This little radioactive warning sign is a freebie from Patrick Miniatures. From Gangfight Games, we get a US Army themed Old West posse. A fire-wielding warrior, and an 11th century Spanish standard bearer from Caballero Miniatures. A full Tauren-themed village from Mojibake Miniatures this month. Red Nebular has mini brutes and horrid spirits with more to come. Dadi Dungeon and Intorni is working on some market stalls this month. "3DS of San has a bust of the God King and a Shadow Dragon, as well as a Demon Abomination. Random Miniatures has leprechauns and angry snowmen. Jamie Corte brings us a ship cannon, dwarf pirate with manatee, cyborg penguin, and more. From Thunderchrome, La Dorada, a beached ship turned into a little home. Panzerprinter has a German self-propelled mortar, plus a couple Spanish Civil War vehicles. Village's Hope Miniatures has the Night Parade of 100 Demons this month. Mini Games Miniatures is working on this Paragon Walker armor. The Iron Fang clan from Kurzluck Miniatures has descended from the mountains to plunder. Magori Miniatures has 5 Flagellants, 4 Horrors, and 4 mutated Warhounds. From Zandoria Studios, the Trolls have arrived, or the first one at least. Maddox Historical has an army of infantry with a bit of cavalry and artillery for backup. Two Gargoyles has heavy weapons from Viria, as well as some Desert Raiders, all modular. Nova Minis has the Black Blood Company this month, a ballista crew with some Minotaurs and more. Labradorite Wolf has a Jackdaw Kenku person, as well as a Shih Tzu Maltese crossed puppy. Dragon's Lake Miniatures has a Prince this month, with many weapons and fantasy mount options. Heroes and Beasts Miniatures has a modular dwarf fighter for the former, and a fire demon for the latter. The Rebels have arrived from Warblade Studios this month. Newcomers, Knucklebones Miniatures, have a multi-story 10mm house, a Cossack with a blunderbuss, and more. Phase 3 of the Midnight Counts from Hellforged Miniatures has new torsos, legs, jump packs, and helmets. Velrock Art has February Familiars from last month, with kitties, Tressum, and imps. Naga Minis has Mousefolk Monks and a Kitten-mounted Warrior, as well as Deerfolk Warlocks. Here's a Scary Shark from Role-Playing Miniatures, and a work-in-progress Merfolk. Imperatum Art has a finished bomber and another work-in-progress flyer. Ilhadiel has Eagle Riders, Eagle Chariots, Phoenix Riders, an Archmage, Sword Maiden, Sword Dancers, and more. Studio DR has Old Masters of Dread from February and have made an early start on March. Some late February entries from Crucible of Games, as well as a Sturgeon-class battlesuit for this month. Clay Beast Creations has a crypt full of nightmares this month, with the first wave of feral vampires. The Nicta are back from Legend builds, with Spearman and Myric Turtle Shield, as well as Temesa, Selene's Acolyte. From 3D Hexes, we have an Ancient Temple, complete with Shrine, Ritual Platform, Walls with Ancient Gates, and more. Void Realm Minis has many creepy monsters to inhabit your nightmares this month. Wake's Emporium has Warmaster Orcs and Umbuso Wobu Draco, Grimdark Zulus. Dragon Workshop has some new Scarecrows and a Barovian Church with optional post-rapture roofs. Here are the finished Sand Raiders set, including the Tank Riders I showed you last month from Gloomy Kid Minis. The Orc King has Warcry terrain with platforms, walls, ramps, and trees. Fabio Shizo's Retro Crusade has run into something of an orky obstacle. The CTS 6Y Cestus for the Star League Defense Force and the CLN-7V Chameleon of the Terran Hegemony by Matt Mason this month are both free downloads. Here's the Baphomet I showed you a work in progress of last month from RG Sculpt. From Cursed Forge Miniatures this month, we get Frost Druids and an Arctic Fox. A bunch of creepy creatures from Onmyoji this month, as well as some Crusader Knights and some Hockey Freaks. Sable Badger has been branching out into a billion suns this month, with a whole bunch of spaceships, jump gates, asteroids, and more. From Maddox this month, we get a young farm boy and an old clone he will one day meet. Crosslances has a terrifying twist on Hansel and Gretel, and several worms as well. The Harrow Haunt Frightmares from Battle Yak Miniatures are mostly made of scarecrows and magic, and have a huge array of farm implements to slay you with. In the Infinity Mists from Print and Paint Miniatures, you'll find a nice little collection of yokai. Peculiar Companions has many mounted units this month, most of them carrying pistols or carbines. Ten Ghoulings, a couple Ghoul Heralds, and a decorated movement tray from Fleshcraft Studios this month. Big Mr. Tong has a bunch of fun stuff like Cylons, Gaslands/Dark Future factions, Skeleton Warriors, and the Banana Knight is back. From Dark Foundry, the Tidehunters enslaved Tortogal Caronade, the Technops Scaraptech Lord, and Spartanian Mounted Polemarch. A couple of Muppets from Rober Rollin this month, plus the Night King and the 6-foot walking carpet we all know and love, Chewbacca. The Kriznev Winter Guard Army from Kyoshineko Miniatures has Bear Lancers and a Dragon Riding Leader, as well as a Mad Scientist and BattleBots in their sci-fi tier. Hell hath no fury like that of a woman scorned, or woken up mid-sleep cycle. These Battle Nuns by Outrageous Creations look a little bit angry. Aether Studios is releasing a new Dwarven Kingdom starter set, available for free, so check it out. The Skeleton Legion has come charging out of Warpluck Miniatures March release with Mounted, Foot, Chariot, and an Ogre. Goonmaster Games has a great little army of brutal orcs with a wyvern riding leader, a catapult, and hog riders, amongst others. Diwali Games has specters, mounted and on foot, I guess, as well as some halflings on ponies. Tiger Skull RPG has released Wicked Mystic and the Thieving Greenbloods, minis and 5th edition material. Here's Sacris Mundus' February release, and a peek at what will be available for March. Titan Troll Miniatures has a bunch of Skelly Boys this month, as well as some ghouls and other creepy creatures. More creepy collector pieces from Edge Miniatures, The Cursed Dimension, as well as some mad scientists to go with them. Lion Tower Miniatures, the Adventurers Guild, have discovered the Order of the Behemoth, Ogre Knights of Telarius. Isn't adventuring fun? A new module and minis to go with it from Dice Heads, the Zoontalis Sewer System, with heroes, monsters, bosses, bases, and tiles. Last Sword Miniatures has Saurian Raptor Riders this month, as well as the Lion Guard, Elven Lords. more giants from Bright Minis this month, and their casualties, 3 townsfolk with their horse and cart. Mon Calamari Knights from Black Remnant, as well as Jedi Master Oppo Rancisis, a Grand Inquisitor, and more. A small army of cyberpunk samurai and ninjas with dragon defense robots from Print Minis. Sarli Factory's 2 sets this month include modular defenses and statues, fallen and standing. Many of Schlossbauer's minis this month are mutated horribly. One of them is also a Metroid boss. Here's the rest of Epic's end stuffs from last month, plus some boxers for the month of March, and of course a new Shroomy. This month from That Evil One, tanks, 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 and what looks like a new bust of Rylazar. Prey Collection Studios has Ripster, Vinny, and Foot Ninja Elite. Here are some Chaos Dwarves and scans of rock formations from Ill-Gotten Games. Magnagard from Seb Miniatures this month, as well as an Imperial Ordnance Officer, Zeb Aurelios, Maul, Jedi General Jaro Tapal, and a Krykna Spider. The Enchanted Forest from Crippled God Foundry has all the Dryads, Elves, Ents, and Fae you would expect to find in such a place, and then some. Manuel Boria is making Kenku this month. There's already a warrior and an artificer complete, with a couple more still on the way. From Great Grimoire, we get a Frost Queen, Roar of the Death Seeker, Draw-N-Ear, and Lady Lycoris, as well as a fisherman and a bust. Twin Goddess Miniatures has a Gnome Druid with Bear Friend, an Al-Raun Lady Plant Monster, a Shield Maiden, Genasi Queen, and Pomerian Swarm Ranger with Fairy Pups. Daybreak Miniatures brings us the Paladins of the Silver Lion this month. marching into battle against orcs, goblins, and other scary things. From Atlan Forge this month, we have a spectacular Asgardian Crash Captain and a Minoan Chaplain. Gearguts has got everything orc for you, bits and boys and big rigs to bring him into battle with. Yusashi Kyojin is dropping some cash this month, coins, piles of them, and jewels. Also, weapon and armor stands, with weapons and armors to populate them, and an ice golem. Here's more dwarven stuff from last month by Dark Realms. I'm not sure they got it out quick enough though. The Green Tide has caught up and already taken over some of their structures. From Aetherion this month, we get the Callisto Super Heavy Weapons platform, as well as some heavy Paragon armor. This month, The Printing Goes Ever On is extending their modular mini customizer with a Dwarven bundle. 5 Forlons with flaming swords and 5 with bastard swords, as well as a command set that fits both, a damsel on a unicorn, from Raven Twin Miniatures this month. From Cobra Mode we have Chogen, Ikiga Priest with a nice little shrine, Hatoko Hanzaki, Shrine Maiden, Al-Saig, Mortuary Guild Intercessor, and Adil, Tomb Knight Colossus. Medusa, the Cursed Priestess of Athena, by Ritual Casting, has gone and turned another suitor to stone. The head variants come with optional tiers. Monstrous Encounters has multi-part gargoyles, mounted knights errant, and some imperial arbiters as well. Duncan Shadow has halflings this month. They come with bows, spears, swords, or as fully armored paladins. Also, pitcher plants, ogre leadbelchers, velociraptors, and more. It's curved stairs all the way down to the dungeons from Masterwork Tools this month. There are angular and radial stairs on rounded corner and curved tiles. Gamescape 3D has a bunch of little butts with hobbit holes inside them, or maybe goblin holes, best use caution. Also, an expansion to last month's Multi-Story Inn, now with even more stories to tell. Print Your Monsters Dark Water Sanctum has many underwater monstrosities for you, ranging from scary sharks and merfolk to kraken hatchlings. Bite the Bullet has Tortle characters this month. There's a druid, monk, cleric, and warrior. There's also a tribal hunter, but she's human, and I think she's hunting the turtles. Here is the modular goblin army I mentioned last month from Asgard Rising. No picks for March yet, but there's supposed to be more modular goblins, mounted goblins, and stone ruins. So far this month, Vivictus Miniatures has shown off a couple of rogues, one elf and one orc, as well as a nice set of ruins for them to sneak their way through. Comet Lord Miniatures has Haydek, the Forge Devil, Master of the Foundry, Render, the Bladed Forgeborn, and the Forgeborn Titan and Soldiers. Cryptids and Skinwalkers are emerging from the dark forests of Printed Obsession's March release. In Papsikel's Cyberpunk tier, we have a Dreaded Judge, some bubblegum cyberbabes, and all sorts of boomers and baddies for them to bring in. Their Science Fantasy tier has several superheroes and maybe villains, hard to tell with the one fighting himself. The Dragon's Rest has made a little dungeon arena this month, and then some skellies to throw in for a challenge. Also, some new corner pieces for their tiling system. Forest Dragon has more chivalric knights this month. Characters include a warrior on an armored steed, an enchantress on a unicorn, and the Procession of the Martyr. For units, there's a guard regiment and mounted squires. Some interesting tech coming out of Rocket Pig Games this month. Just look at all these clockwork creations, many with 5th edition datasheets. From STL Miniatures this month, we have a monk set, a couple of very trustworthy looking potion sellers, several thieves that have absolutely nothing to do with the potion sellers, and several Viking minotaurs. The Dwarven Navy has docked and is ready to bring those pesky pirates to heel. It's more fantasy football minis from Punga Miniatures this month. "16 zombies are coming from Highlands Miniatures this March, with 8 zombie villagers, 5 zombie warriors, and 3 for the Undead Command Group. Clay Cyanide Miniatures is releasing the Gods of India this month. There are 16 gods listed, with multiple poses and busts for some. No public preview from One Gold Piece this month, but this is the new banner on their Patreon page, and I suspect it may be their March release. Mabonga, the Hexmaster of the Baron Troll clan, leads 3 female orcs into battle against Sharok, the arachnid horror of the Bone Fields, by White Werewolf Tavern. Mia K's February releases of Angels and the Fallen didn't end up being the cutesy Space Marines I was hoping for, but an angelic paladin pair instead, one resplendent in gold, the other tainted black by evil. The syndicates and street gangs coming from Unit 9 include Agent Lazarus, Miles, and Kaleo from the Micro Machines Corporation, onlookers Babette and a cyborg hunter, and gang members Hando, Kongo Savain, Morgan the Black, Tomo Kosuda, and a street kid. RN Studio is releasing Monster Hunters for March. There are 9 hunters here, some heavily armored and ready to brawl. Others are hunters hiding in trees, downing dragons with precisely placed arrows. Monsters include 3 dragons, a worm, a winged lion, and a Kyobi no Kitsune. Bestiarum Miniatures invites you to the Crimson Grove Abbey this March. Enjoy its peaceful woods and terrifying inhabitants. The Grove Hierophant will interpret the mysteries for you, and the Brother of Silence will make sure you never tell anyone. There's pilgrims, acolytes, elder brothers, and a deacon, as well as 5th edition datasheets to help you integrate them into your games. The Dragon Trapper's Lodge has a rare Glimmer Scale Dragon this month, as well as a Podogryphmus and a Mandrill Core. More friendly creatures include scrying flying Sphinx Cats, the Glass Watchers, and a Sandbounder Pack Beast. Heroes include Ramos the Druid, Amut the Priest of Ka, Kadir the Free, and Nasina the Assassin. Gomek has some creepy creatures for their fantasy release this month, and on the sci-fi side of things is Space Elves. Anvil Digital Forge has Desert Nomads this month, modular sci-fi infantry and elites with a commander, shaman, sniper, and jetbike pilots with jetbike. Be sure not to idle in the erg too long though. Nothing attracts sandworms faster than rhythmic vibrations like those of an engine. This month, Lost Kingdom Miniatures is adding some special regiments and monsters to the hosts of their Quetzal Empire, including Kua Kua Uidal Quetzpali riders, a Yokalotls with either lightning engines or Tequetl swarms, a Cowabungal Ayatl squad, and Gallimimus Quetzalcoatl riders. Epic Miniatures March sets are titled Inferno Island and Divine Destiny. Included are 80 models of all sorts, like a fire giant, a living volcano, didn't know they could do that, giant thermal shrimp, volcanic salamanders, lava crocodiles, Marid, water elementals living off the coast of Inferno Island, were sharks, phoenixes, dragon turtles, Ifrits, ever at war with the Marid, the whaling ship the Huntress and her captain Anathid in search of the Apocalypse Whale, which happens to be following right behind them. There's a female fire giant, an octopus mermaid, an island wyvern, a raptor infernum, the Jade Emperor, the Monkey King, a female Oni warrior, a Kyobi no Kitsune, Triptaka, a monk, Pigsy and Sandy, formerly of the Heavenly Army, Killin, a white dragon horse, 4 ninja turtles, Kunoichi, female ninjas, a ratfolk sensei, Kenku wizard, female samurai, and finally the gargantuan Azure dragon of the East. One Page Rules has a triple pack this month, with 47 models compared to the normal 15 to 20. There are 4 giant Havoc demons, Dwarven warriors, gunners, and heavies, as well as Battle Sister troops, fanatics, and bikers. From Under the Sea, Lord of the Print brings us a Leviathan and Water Elemental, as well as Dunklosaurus, Cecilia, Queen Under the Sea, and 3 Tritons to do her bidding. New models from the Maker's Cult for last month include a Feudal Guard Elite Transport, Iron Hive Warrior upgrades, and an Iron Hive Warrior Priestess. For March, we have a Valor Corps Heavy Weapons team, and a peek at a couple larger things they have coming. From the frozen wastelands of Mini Monster Mayhem's March release, we find an Arctic Owl Wanderer, the Great Remoras, the Queen of the Glacial Depths, Imperium Polar Bears with optional riders, a Frost Giant with her Undead Mammoth, and more. Cast and Play has been afflicted by the Midnight Curse, with all manner of undead tearing their way free. vampires, zombies, and werewolves, with some tiles and scatter terrain as usual. Cyberforge is doing fantasy sci-fi this month. The Knights of the Eclipse include some wonderful characters such as Bertrand the Electro Knight, Burgash the Blasthammer Barbarian, Elmeric the Techno Preacher, Malin the Sonic Shooter, and Jaina the Nano Wizard. Then there's the Mecha Dragon, a Cyber Assassin, Crusader Marines, a gunship, and more. Heroes Infinite by Raging Heroes has an impressive pantheon of Greek gods and heroes of Olympus. There's Zeus, of course, Apollo, optionally riding his sun chariot, Aphrodite, Athena, Ares, and Nyx. Then there's heroes like Heracles and Leonidas, and monsters like Medusa and the Minotaur. There's a monumental centerpiece as usual, and some extra squads for the upper tiers. $40 new models from MZ4250 since last video. The Thessal Hydra from Stranger Things made an appearance. Other models include a Frost Giant Skeleton, Fenrir, a Tiefling Teen in a sundress, a Clockwork Bear and Owl. There are several clerics including Warforged and Pegasus mounted, Draconian, Medusan Blacksmith, a Boar Worm, the list goes on, leading up to a lovely gingerbread dragon at the end. Find them wherever you get your free STLs. The Affliction Outbreak from Archvillain Games has all the rat folk you need to fill the sewer systems of your nightmares, and a giant wheel for them to play on too. There's the Broodmother, the Blind Bishop, the Bile Rat, the Executioner, and the Gallows for larger figures, and the Rat King with his horde of Slum Rat Gorillas, Plague Chanters, Shadow Molars, and Ratwatch in 32mm. Also, a 5th edition Affliction Outbreak module to play them with. Artisan Guild's army for March is the Swamp Garunda. There's 4 little Garunda, 2 bigger Garunda, and 3 mounted on Swamp Salamanders. Rosputak is optionally riding a giant horned demon frog, and King Skrakor III is elevated in his spiky throne above the temple ruins. There's also a pinup, 3 bonus guild riders, and a massive Season 1 epic boss. Meets the heart of the forest in the secluded Wildwood Sanctum. Only the most noble warriors sworn to protect nature and the magic that lies within can enter. A collection of truly mystical characters for your tabletop from Titanforge Miniatures. The Sanctum contains druids, green knights, 1 riding a unicorn, a wonderful fey dragon, and standing stones and pavilion tents for terrain. New Titans of Adventure include a human hunter, gnome fighter, and an orc druid. Okay, into the lightning round. Your Neighbor Knight. Claudio Cassini art. Zed Ronan 3D prints. Jeremy Smith. Stone Axe Miniatures. Productions Deracia. Skaven Trader. Homunculus Creations. Arcanum Workshop, 2 Moronic Miniatures, The Nalon Realm, Guardian's Destiny, Mystic Pigeon, JG Sculpts, Permanent Nerd Damage Studios, Miniatures for You, 3D Print Games, War God, Blue Wyvern, Stormcrow, Miniatures by Ace, Black Cobra Miniatures, Sol Prima Miniatures, Rising Kingdoms, Matthias Martin. That's all for today. Check back weekly for Kickstarter countdowns, and thanks for watching.